So what was I talking about? We're talking about the topic of being a Black conservative and how you're shunned upon. You know, when you tell people, and you might not even tell people, y'all might be talking about some type of political thing or your viewpoint on a topic, and you might have some disagreements because you don't agree with the liberal talking points. So, say for instance, you believe that everyone should be able to work. You don't believe in the welfare system, and you might get shunned upon. So, or JQ said I told my political beliefs, now I'll be fired if you exactly. You'll get disowned from the family. You'll get fired because being a Black conservative is a big no. Hold on for a second. I'm going to play this for you guys so you could see what I'm talking about. And this is Malcolm X. This is one of his speech that he self-identified white liberals. And this is what he said about white liberals.
But you never see them going under the label of liberals. There are many whites who are trying to solve the problem, but you never see them going under the label of liberals. That white person that you see calling himself a liberal is the most dangerous thing in the entire Western Hemisphere. He's the most deceitful. He's like a fox, and a fox is always more dangerous in the forest than the wolf. You can see the wolf coming. You know what he's up to, but the fox will fool you. He comes at you with his mouth shaped in such a way that even though you see his teeth, you think he's smiling, and you take him for a friend. There are many whites who are trying to solve.
And this is what I wanted to get at. Malcolm X is basically saying, okay, white liberals paint themselves as, oh yeah, I'm trying to help you. But hello. They're already ready. All right. Okay. All right. Chase, come and get this. Chase, come and get this. And yep, you guys got your shoes on, right? Okay. Okay, sorry about that. They got basketball practice and their dad's running late. So anyway, so you have white liberals. They're thinking that they have a disdain for Black conservatives because their viewpoint is, how dare you? How dare you think for yourself? How dare you leave the Democratic plantation and I'm your master? I'm supposed to be telling you how you should be thinking and what you should be feeling. And Black people should be insulted by this. But still, we have most of Black folks, that 90% of them will vote Democrat. It's like 89, 90% are voting Democrat. And they're latching on to these liberal policies that do not benefit them. And when I say they, and when I'm using the word they, I'm using that in general to when you decide to think for yourself, white liberals do not like that. They hate it with a passion. I'm going to play this other short video for you guys. And this is what I'm saying. When you start thinking for yourself and take ownership of your destiny and stuff, people don't like it. People do not like it. Where is that? And I'm saying people, I'm basically talking about white folks, white liberal people. They hate it. If I could just pull this clip up for you. So this is, you know how our last live stream we talked about anti-fascists. This guy, he's saying he's anti-fascist because they call conservatives fascists. And actually they complete the definition of fascism. So I don't understand why they tried to put it on conservative people, because they complete that definition. Okay, so this guy right here, he hates black conservatives with a passion. Like you say you don't hate people, but you hate black conservatives. And this is just like a snip from I don't know if you guys heard of Jesse. I think his name is Jesse Peterson. And he's old school. He has some crazy talking points. But this guy that was on there is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Conservative pretty much like categorically means you don't have much common sense, yeah.
Do you hate black conservatives?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I do love all people, but I hate black conservatives.
What the? You think they should vote like the radical blacks who are voting for Democrats?
Absolutely.
So you're saying blacks don't have the common sense to make good decisions for themselves?
Black conservatives? Oh no, because they have the gall of being conservative while having experienced what it means to be under the heel of a white supremacist state. It seems to me they're the ones who should have the greatest interest in voting against it.
How is it that when I was growing up, under the Jim Crow laws, on the plantation, that black people did better than they are today? They had families, they got married, abortion was unheard of, they bought land, built businesses, they became professionals, they went to college, those that wanted to go. Why were blacks able to do better then than they are today?
Because white folk got more clever. I'll stop treating them like victims. I'll say, hey, you gotta work hard, you gotta overcome your status. At the same time, white folk got more clever. I would say that being a black conservative.
So, and he's saying white folks got more clever. That's why people are not doing well. Because white folks are so much clever than black folks. This is what he's saying. And like I said, if you are black and you still voting Democrat, you should take offense to this, because he's a racist. Blatantly, he's saying he's a racist. He do not like black people that vote conservative. And he said it out of his mouth. How dare you? You have the gall to vote something different than I do, because I have all the answers. I have all the answers, and you should be voting what I say, because I could save you. I'm going to get to some of your chats. I could save you. JQ said, if I told my political beliefs, I'll be fired. Alistair, I believe I'm pronouncing your name, Lagan, British-born hunky view. one love, respect from Australia. And he also says, color don't matter, attitude does. You're absolutely right. Wealth, I don't know. Wealth minds action. I don't know. My thing is cut off. If I'm pronouncing that name right, I can't see the full name. Keep exposing the truth. Yeah. And that's what I'm doing. I'm exposing the truth. And people, like I said, being black and being a conservative, you're shunned. I get on so many arguments, and I don't try to argue with people. But when people ask for my advice, it's more on a conservative perspective. And it could be anything. It could be about marriage. It could be about day-to-day decisions. it's a more conservative perspective, because I do not feel, me being a young Black woman, and I grew up in the ghetto, dirt poor, and I reached amount of success, but I worked hard at it. I think everybody could do that. So this next clip I want to show you, these are some young Black folks. Now, this was a film like 4 years ago. 4 years ago, and they're like college students, and they were like MAGA supporters. Some, and they got a clip on here where a guy, he's like a professor. He's not a MAGA supporter, but he is a conservative. He is a Republican. So I'm going to play that for you, and just listen to some of the stuff that, and these are young people that they have experienced.
Traitors. That's what their haters call them. So they retreat here, a secret group chat with other supposed sellouts. But they didn't commit a crime. They're just Black Trump supporters. And this is their coming out party.
I'm gathering this is kind of a judgment-free zone. Everyone can kind of just be themselves, and
I think it confuses some people. They see Black people walking around with MAGA hats, and they're probably like, do they like know what they're in line for?
Kalasia, Charisse, and Anthony bonded on social media. They're here in DC to finally meet others like them in person. As a biracial woman, I know exactly what it feels like to be misunderstood by your own people. So that's why I came here, to find out why everyone acts like Black conservatives don't exist. USA, USA, USA. This is the nonprofit behind this meetup, Turning Point USA. They promote conservative values on college campuses. And you might know it because of them, Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens.
There is nothing more American than being Black in this country.
But today, the crowd is here to see someone else.
Who in this room wants to be president someday?
President Trump's approval rating among African Americans hovers around 14%. In here, though, it's off the charts.
The African American unemployment rate has hit the lowest level ever recorded in the history of our country.
This is a recurring theme.
African American unemployment has reached its lowest rate ever recorded.
Trump deserves credit for his role in maintaining low Black unemployment levels. It's been steadily declining since before he got to Washington. But beyond that, the picture looks a little different. The median net worth of Black families is 10 times lower than white families. The gap between Black and white homeownership is growing, and Black college graduates still make significantly less than white college graduates. But for these students, this is bigger than just the economy.
Before even becoming a conservative, I started to feel like I was a victim. But once I got out of that victim mentality, I actually started thriving.
My biggest pet peeve is when people say, we've made no progress since slavery. Are you kidding me?
And that is the main talking points. Victim blaming, you blame somebody else for your problems. And also, we haven't made progress since slavery. And that is a lie. That is a lie. Even with Don Lemon talking to the presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, he actually said Black people don't have the same freedoms as white people. That actually we don't enjoy the same things that white people can enjoy. And another thing that they always say is, oh, you act like racism don't exist. You try to hide racism. No, we know, everyone knows racism exists. Everyone knows that. But we're not going to dwell on that, and we're not going to let that stop us from doing what we need to do. to achieve, whatever we're trying to achieve, we're not going to dwell on that, because anything could stop you. Not only racism, crime could stop you. Like literally anything could stop you from getting to what you're trying to get to. So I get very upset when I hear this type of stuff, like coon, you get called coon, or you a sellout, Uncle Tom, and I was probably one of those people. I was probably one of those people where I was looking at other people like, oh, how can you vote Republican? Like, oh my God, how can you vote Republican? They're so racist. Because I was brainwashed. When you grow up in a Democratic house, you're brainwashed. Until I started thinking for myself and really putting stuff together, like, no. Because the Democratic Party does not serve Black folks. They don't do anything for Black people. All they do is try to, what is it called? They try to, they basically manipulate Black folks to get their vote. But they haven't did anything for Black people besides, oh, look at what the white man is doing, all this racism thing. George Floyd, that was racist. Everything is racist. Everything has a racist connotation because they want you to believe white supremacy is all encompassing and it's all around you, and you can't achieve what you can't you can't achieve what you seek out to achieve. So you need governmental assistance. You need affirmative action, because I feel sorry for you. You're not capable of doing what other people do. So it really irritates me to my soul. So like I said, I get frustrated, and these are young people. And you can't tell people, you can't have a healthy debate with people online, because they call you all kinds of names and you end up feeling bad about yourself.
A lot of what I heard today was the narrative that Democrats really don't care about Black people.
We sit in these really bad, dilapidated, broken communities. Democrat policies have continuously been implemented, and they have not worked.
Welfare reform is on the president's to-do list. And this gets to the core of conservatism, that liberal policies unintentionally do more harm than good. After LBJ created social programs like food stamps and Medicare in the 60s, the rate of Black economic progress actually slowed down. They made progress, but not as quickly as in the 5 years before these programs started. Still, there are far fewer Black people in poverty today than there were back then. But even if conservatives are right about welfare holding folks back, sometimes Trump makes things complicated.
After Charlottesville, when he said there were fine people on both sides, do you think that was racist?
No one likes to see Nazis parading around singing Blood and Soil. That could have been handled a lot better.
Trump sometimes says things in the wrong way. I never feel like he's personally attacking the Black community.
Not all Black conservatives agree. We met up with Quadricos Driscoll. He's a Republican who teaches religion and politics at GW.
Do you think it's fair to call Trump a racist?
I think it's fair to call Trump a racist, yes. How I define racism is about power structures that prevent access to certain things. And so when we look at his policies and when we certainly look at his rhetoric, it falls in line to what racism is.
Why do you think we see such vitriol coming from other members of the Black community directed at people within this young Black conservative movement?
That is one thing I never agreed with. Black conservatives aren't going away.
He's right. This isn't some new trend. Then why are there so many culturally conservative African Americans who don't vote Republican? Well, it goes back to the end of slavery, when Black people did vote red. But just as they became Republican leaders in the 1930s, Hoover's administration kicked them out to appeal to Southern racists. It's when Roosevelt's New Deal came along that minorities saw a chance to turn their misfortunes around. And when Republican presidential nominee Barry Goldwater opposed the Civil Rights Act, that's when many Black voters switched to loyal Democrats.
Being a black conservative, you kind of feel like you're the only one.
People have been really crazy, especially black people. I had some people tell me to bleach my skin, kill myself, you're a coon, you're Uncle Tom.
It's like one thing to be called those things by like white people. When it's within your own community, it hurts.
And then there's Kanye. You didn't think we'd forget about him, did you? Before his fallout with Candace Owens, people here appreciated the visibility he lent to the cause and the MAGA hat.
This is our president.
I noticed on your Twitter you had that post about wearing your MAGA hat for the first time.
Yes, which was yesterday. It's giving me courage to stand up for what I believe in.
Here's the thing about the hat. When these guys wear it, it's an act of defiance that says we're not Democrats and we are not invisible. Look, people are messy, too messy for the simple little boxes society wants to put us in. And if someone doesn't fit, it's becoming much easier to dismiss the unknown rather than try to understand it.
America first! America first!
Well, yeah, so there you have it. These, like I said, these young individuals, black young conservatives, they go through it too. And you're ostracized from the community when you're trying to you're just trying to live, and you trying to put on your vote or place your vote or place your independence on what you believe in, but you're shunned, especially in the black community. You are shunned. This is another clip, and now this is from CNN. Now, when we're talking about the difference between white liberals versus black liberals, I think there's a big difference between them. I think white liberals, to me, they have an agenda, a kind of evil agenda for people. I think it's always a hidden agenda. It's nothing flat out in front of your face. And with black people, I think they vote Democrat because it's always, hey, my mama voted Democrat, my daddy voted Democrat, we're a Democratic family, so that's what I'm going to vote. They never really look into the policies. And when one of the young men said, yeah, if you look at all these liberal cities, these major cities, we're living in dilapidated conditions, and they're all Democratic ran cities. So since I always lived in this crap, I think this crap is normal. Until you move out the crap and figure out, oh, this shit ain't normal. Then you start to realize, oh, I did not grow up in a normal environment. I did not grow up where, you know, the school system didn't fail me. Like, everybody in my family could read. We could pass the tests. We're above par passing the state exams. So until people realize that their eyes they're blind, until people realize that, hey, this is not a normal thing that we should be going through, then I think they always going to be voting Democrat. So, and I think that's the biggest difference between a white liberal, which they have the hidden agenda, and a black liberal. Black liberal, this is what we did. It's always we always voted this way, so we're going to continue vote this way, and they don't question that. So let me get to some of your texts. Dr. Oates, time to wake up, being used by the liberal communists. Yeah, it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. We don't need liberals. I mean, it's okay to have that. I mean, if you want a free life and do whatever willy-nilly, okay, that's on you. But I'm speaking to like really the Black community. It's time to wake up and like smell the coffee. Alistair says, I grew up poor, can't choose birthplace, but can change your life. I'm sort on the fence with Trump, but I like Candace. Yeah. David Millington, Shawan is so articulate, smart, and led by morality. Well, thank you, David. I try to lead by morality. Yeah, freedom of speech used to mean talk, discuss, debate. Now it's hate speech. Yeah, you can't talk about your viewpoint because you're a fascist. You're a racist. If you're white and a Republican, you're a racist. That's the talking point. If you're white and if you Black and Republican or conservative, you're a coon. You know, or you're a house nigga. That's what they call you. So I'm gonna play this clip for CNN. This stuff is wild. To me, this is wild because, and this is what they think about Black conservatives. Now they're talking about Tim Scott, Representative Tim Scott, very articulate individual. He did a lot for business owners, not only Black business owners, but business owners during COVID-19. He was on the finance committee, and he was on, he did question the SBA of when they handling of the distribution of the money. So that's when I first came to realize Tim Scott, he's a very intelligent individual. He's out for just basically having people able to see and live their American dream. And it doesn't matter the skin color. And he did have a part in him and I think his name is Cory Bookins. They worked together and tried to decrease the timeline for admittance of a felony so business owners with felons could get the economic injury disaster loan. So he worked with a Democrat to finance felons' businesses if they were already existing business, right? So this is what they think about him. And they criticize him because he's a Black conservative.
Tim Scott will have to face his ancestors one day. I don't know what kind of people they were, but he will have to answer for all the choices he's made, all the decisions.
You know, I find Senator Scott fascinating, a Black Republican who isn't too shy in talking about race, but whose views on race can be problematic both within the GOP and in the general public.
Republicans every election cycle need a racial pacifier. He's their racial security blanket in the race.
Funny how all these Black...
You see how they say he's their racial pacifier. He's there to say, have all the talking points that white conservatives can't say. Well, yeah, they probably think the same thing. Even though Tim has his own mind, he's saying it, but white conservatives can't say it because they have a viewpoint of being racist. Oh, get a job. That's racist. Oh, get off of welfare. That's racist. That's a racist view. Pull yourself, Republicans always say, pull yourself up by the bootstrap. That's really racist. What do you mean by pull ourselves up by the bootstrap? That means actually do the work. Do the work. But that's when the white person says they can't say it. They can't say it. So Tim Scott, being a conservative, he says it, and he's a coon. And they're using him. Oh, he's a puppet. No, he has his own thought process. He has his own mind. Somebody that successful, he didn't go through life just doing what other people told him to do. And he's a Republican. I think he's in South Carolina, right? So what are you talking about?
Black and brown Republicans play down that identity until it becomes useful to them in national races, or until they need to deny the existence of racism within their own party.
And I hate when they say deny the existence of racism in their own party. Why can't you just say, hey, I'm going to work with a person because I'm in office to get laws passed and for the betterment of the people. People work with racist people all the time at their job. They're not going to stop doing their job. To me, this doesn't make any sense. You want to stop the world or America from running because, oh my God, this guy is a racist. Well, he got voted in. So he's not supposed to work with him? Or he got to identify everyone that's a racist. Oh, he might be a racist. Oh, this guy might be a racist. I don't want to work with him. To me, that's just ludicrous.
So he has to essentially endorse, right, white power structure, and he cannot step off that team for not even a little. I feel sorry for him that he has to go into the history books this way, but apparently that's where he wants to be.
Okay, let's. Then that's a little bit extreme. She needs to get fired. She really does. When you referring to a person because of they have morals. Now, another thing about liberals don't have any morals. They don't believe in God. And you might be saying, Shawan, a lot of black churches vote Democrat, and they do. You know why they vote Democrat? Y'all probably gonna get mad as hell with me when I say that. When you go to a black church, who's in the black church? Literally, who is in the black church? Single woman. That's the majority of the black church is single women. Now, when you get to these mega churches and they like the church that Donald Trump went to, you see a mixture of, men and women. They have wives and husbands there. They have a family structure. But all these little small churches around here, there's mainly Democratic black churches, they're single women. And you know what a lot of black churches do? Oh, we forgive you for your sins. It's okay that you had 3 baby daddies. It's okay. We forgive you. Now, remember, you got to pay those tithes. So they pandering to the black women. They pandering to the black women. The black single woman. The black single woman with no damn daddies. No husbands, no fathers, no nothing. And that's when you lost and misdirected, you go to the church because the church is going to accept you for all your indiscretions. And so we got to vote Democrat because some of my members might have got an abortion. Some of my members still, not walking in the light, leading their life in sin. So I gotta pander to my people. So yeah, that's why we got a lot of black people voting Democrat, black churches, because you don't have any discipline in your life. You don't believe, you really don't believe. You can't tell me you believe in God and you vote Democrats, especially the policies that they putting out now.
Let's be clear. Tim Scott does not represent any constituency other than the small number of sleepy, slow-witted sufferers of Stockholm syndrome.
Look, and you see how they said sleepy, slow-witted Stockholm syndromes. Candace Owens, I don't agree with everybody talking points. Candace Owens is a very bright individual. Now, this guy, is that Herschel Walker? Yeah, I would never vote for him. But why they put him on there? He just got in there. You know, people just became aware of Herschel Walker. This other guy, I'm not for sure who that is, and this other lady. Only person I really know is Candace Owens. That might be this lady might be, is that Klasick? I'm not for sure. But anyway, but you see how the insults, it can't be like, no, this is a very intelligent person. But they live their life conservatively. They have morals. And it takes more than, oh, I'm a good person. No, it takes more than that to live in America, to raise your kids in America. You got to have discipline. It takes more than, oh, I'm a good person to have a marriage. You can't just be a good person. To have a successful marriage, you can't just be a good person. To have kids, to raise kids successfully, you can't just be a good person. You have to have discipline. And with conservatives, they actually have discipline. They don't live their life all willy-nilly, freely, you know, getting all turned up. That's not how conservatives live. And I'm not talking about partying. I'm talking about, oh, I'm going to have sex with somebody and, oh, it feels good. It feels so good. So I'm going to have unprotected sex. And I'm just going to, oh, I'm not going to think about the consequences. I'm just going to go get an abortion or take the abortion pill because it feels good at the time. That's what I'm talking about, discipline. Waking up every morning and not waking up every morning at the same time. That's discipline. Not like, oh, my phone is ringing and being late to work. And you guys might be saying, well, Shawan, that doesn't mean liberals are late for work. No, I'm just saying having discipline in your life. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with not blaming other people for your shortcomings? It has nothing to do with white supremacy. You need to look into 95 or 99% of the things that happen to you. It's because of yourself. It's nothing to do with white supremacy. You have good credit. That has nothing to do with white supremacy. You don't get foreclosed on your home. Nothing to do with white supremacy. It's all about your discipline. Living a disciplined life. And not, hey, living your life without boundaries. And that's what Democrats do. They live their life without boundaries, and whatever goes, goes. And when that happens, that's when disaster happens.
Who get elevated to prominence for repeating a false narrative about this country that makes conservative white people feel comfortable.
I think Tim Scott and Nikki Haley are there to say, listen, maybe Donald Trump isn't as racist as you think he is.
But there was perhaps a bigger, more cynical reason why the party rallied around Tim Scott. As the Charleston Post and Courier reported at the time, state Republicans would benefit from getting a black person elected, as it might silence critics who said that the elections process diluted the black vote there by electing at-large members rather than having them each represent a specific district.
And I wouldn't doubt that Tim Scott has not experienced racism, but you know what he's not doing? He's not letting, I'm to hell with the Republicans. I'm just going to start living my life, whatever. No, he's not doing that. He's not doing, I'm not going to run for re-election because those damn Republicans are racist. That guy treated me bad. He's not doing that. And that's what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't allow one person's actions to determine your outcome in life. I know I'm screaming at the computer at you guys, but come on now. Come on now. You should not let people determine your outcome in life. This is wealth mindset in action. I voted Democratic because I was told Republicans were racist. Everybody, every Democrat, if you talk to every Black Democrat out there and they still voting Democrat, they was told the same lie. Most of us never question what our peers believe, and we just go along with an us against them mentality. Hey, you said this was very well written. You took the words right out of my mouth. We just believe whatever they told us. We believe what they told us. And we continue to believe what they tell us. That's why, like I said, that's why we have the Black church voting Democrat. Because they allow us to live our life without structure and without accountability. And we're talking about the Black church, the pastor. They allow Black women to live their life without structure. That's why they voting Democrat. That's why they support Democrat. They can't lose their offering. You can't lose your offering if you say no. You have to be disciplined. No, you can't just have sex with everyone. No, you should think about getting married before you having sex. And look, I wasn't no virgin when I got married. But that's best believe I wasn't having no babies by no man if I wasn't married to him. That's called structure and discipline. And choosing a mate that makes sense. Not because he looked good. Does this guy have a job? Does he have a 401k plan? Choosing good mates, good fathers, because they're out there. And I get into it with females too about, oh, I can't find a man. Like, where are you going? Because when I was dating, I found a whole bunch of good men. You know, and these are good Black men. So it's like you're living your life, choosing the wrong people to hang around. And then you want to blame white supremacy on your life choices. And then you go to the pastor and ask for, like, pastor, you got to pray for me because I fell. What they call it when you I backslid. I backslid this weekend, pastor, but you know, I couldn't help myself. You didn't have any discipline. And then 3 weeks later, oh, pastor, I'm you know, that time I told you I backslid, I'm going to be I'm expecting in 10 months. You living your life without discipline. And then the pastor is not holding you accountable. And I can't hold you accountable because I might lose my offering. That's where we're at right now. Choosing discipline over, you know, some BS. Choosing discipline over some BS. There's one thing else I wanted to show you guys. Now, this is Morgan Freeman. And this is what I say this all the time. You know, I'm probably not to you guys, but you can't dwell on, and I just said it. You can't dwell on what is out there, what may stop you from getting to your goals or achieving your success. You know, if you want a family, you can't hey, I want a family, but I might meet the wrong person. Well, that's why you gotta, know yourself, stay prayed up, and have if you really know yourself, and have some type of discernment of, oh, this person might be bad. Not thinking on the inside and down here. Look, down here where explosions happen. No, we're not thinking in the middle part of our body. We thinking up here. That's how you make good choices, because you think up here. You know, that's how you go through life without making a oops baby. You're thinking up here. You're planning stuff. You're not letting life happen to you. You are happening to your life. You planned out your life. It might not go exactly the way you want to go, but you planned it out. And you're not going to let what might happen stop you from doing or achieving, going with your, achieving to your highest potential. You're not going to let stuff stop you. So this clip I want to share with you guys. This is Morgan Freeman and Don Lemon. Now, Don Lemon, for some reason, he was more conservative years ago, and he just went off the rails. I mean, as time went by, he just went off the rails, and he just, I don't know. I guess they told him, hey, you need to hone in on blaming white people for everything. And that's what he did. Okay. So this is Morgan Freeman and Don Lemon. And Morgan Freeman is basically telling Don, like, hey, man, look at us. We achieved a lot of success. We didn't let nobody stop us. Because he asked him a question. So let me play this for you guys before we break. Let me see.
The whole thing, especially the president and Democrats now are talking about income inequality, and that's basically what, when you talk about the richest 85 people on the planet, right?
Yeah.
It's income inequality. Do you think that's, looking at, what's happening in the news now, is that a good idea?
It's a great idea. It is the greatest idea. We have a much more vibrant society when we don't have such a vast chasm between the haves and the have-nots. We need that middle ground that we call the middle class, the people who buy everything, people who use the products that the rich are creating, if they're creating anything other than wealth, right?
Right.
So it's what's happening with the Chinese economy right now. They're changing their whole outlook because they need consumers.
Yeah.
And without a middle class, you're not going to have consumers. You're not going to have it at the level that we normally would have it.
So can I go back to, because I thought what you said was fascinating, because you called it bull when you said people can't, pull themselves up. Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't
Today?
or cannot? Yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. Hey, you and I, we're proof. Why would race have anything to do with it? Put your mind to what you want to do and go for that. It's kind of like religion to me. It's a good excuse for not getting there.
Yeah. I said, and it's probably get me in trouble, but I said to some of my colleagues recently, so I know that it's an issue, but it seems like every single day on television I'm talking about race, and it's because of the news cycle, it's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it, I want to I want to just go, this is over, can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like it exists and we refuse to talk about it, but making it a bigger issue than it needs to be is the problem we have.
So I understand you recently had a birthday. You're 27?
You hear what he said? Morgan Freeman saying it is an issue, but you making it a problem bigger than what it is. You're inflating the problem than what it is. So I just want people to realize that, especially my Black people, that you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You could literally think for yourself. If you're having a hard time in your life, you got to do some self-searching, some soul searching, and see what are you doing wrong. And I believe, like, even if you're not a political person, I believe living your life conservative, it will change your life, because you do have boundaries that you set for yourself that you're not going to cross. And if you live your life in a more disciplined manner, no telling what things that you can achieve. And don't let anyone tell you what your purpose is. You should know that for yourself, or seek it out for yourself. Seek those answers out for yourself. So before we leave, I want to tell you guys, I really appreciate you for tuning into my channel and sharing my channel with other people, because I'm on the road to 25,000 subscribers, and we're almost there, you guys. Let me share this with you. We're almost there. Right now, we're at 24,128. I would like to get to 24,000 or 25,000 subscribers by the end of the month. I think we could do it. So please like, share, and comment on this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. I am not monetized. You see,
we've helped.
Wrong thing. I don't know why I did that. But I'm not monetized. It says monetization not approved. Your channel was not approved for monetization. And probably, maybe because they don't like the talking points. I'm not for sure. They keep on saying I reuse content, but all of my content is my own. So anyway, anywho, so thank you for the continued support. I really appreciate you. Like I said, let me know what you think about what we talked about today. Black conservatives, do you get hate from other individuals? Black people and non-Black people. White people are the worst. White people are, like I said, white people that's liberals, and they're thinking, how dare you think for yourself? Because I'm supposed to be thinking for you. Okay? So put it in the comments section. Like, share, and subscribe this video. I'm sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.